You're watching Pucknology After Dark. Oh my. I mean, we just had a three-way joke off air that you guys didn't hear, but it was a lot more amusing and a lot more entertaining than anything the Sharks did tonight. Sharks lose a stinker 5-4 against the Winnipeg Jets. And joining us right now from the tank is Puck Guy 14, AJ, I believe Gentry Alexander, and I thought I heard Rocket in the background as well. We'll go straight to you
Yes.
guys and let you
The
guys give
whole
your
gang is
takes on the game.
yes. Literally, almost everybody but Landy is here, including the lovely Rocket backhander. Anyways, an absolute spectacular game. If somebody, it was like a preseason crowd. They played a preseason game because they were El Stinko Grande.
Yeah.
But
Stop me if you've heard this one before, but the Sharks losing the first home game after a good road trip. Stop me.
The Sharks versus the Jets. Like Rocket.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you, Rocket. AJ, what did you think about this game?
I don't give a shit about the game. I'm looking at Rocket, dude. This is hysterical. Just when. Hold on. Yes, look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is when interpretive dance goes really wrong.
So how many drinks deep are you guys?
And this is why, and just to let you know, this is why we only do check-ins for 3 minutes now. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But basically, you know, they started out strong, 3-1. I thought they looked really solid, and then all of a sudden, an absolute meltdown in the second period. Was pretty bad. You know, we thought they corrected it when they made it 4-3, but it just didn't seem like they kind of kept that momentum going.
Well, and as you said, the atmosphere was a preseason-like, and they played a preseason-like game. I didn't like the effort after. I didn't like the oomph in the third. We should have been able to win it 4-3. And also that dumb penalty was taken. They didn't look good after that. And I mean, you got to give it to the Jets though. They put up a hell of a game. And as much as I hate to say this, Bufflin, everything is advertised. He deserves that contract.
Yes.
Second period killed it, buddy.
Yes, second period too. Well. We're kind of getting interrupted here. Apparently, Jamie Baker started with this.
Wow.
So.
See if Jamie wants to say something. You guys suck.
I'm sorry?
I said, see if Jamie wants to say something. You guys suck.
Yes. You guys suck. He's getting interrupted on our show. What's up, bud? So, I'll send it back to you guys.
I want to hear from Baker. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's being inundated. Here, look. He's getting
Tell,
inundated.
doesn't
by
matter.
everybody.
You have to get him to say hi to the kind people at home.
Yes.
Here we go. Awesome.
Anyways, they're taking pictures. I'll talk to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Eric. And we managed to avoid any shorthouse impressions tonight. Thank goodness.
Wow.
Did you say John Shorthouse?
Okay. I told this guy that yeah, you're just hidden for the broadcast now. You're done. Oops, I just did it at the end. Yeah. Anyways, back on subject here. Hello, everyone. You were just watching. Who knows what you want to call that? So, if you want to get involved in the show here, you can tweet at us with the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. It's a small crew tonight, just me and Ian manning the show because everyone's either at the game or too busy. You can tweet at us. I'm on Twitter at ChrisJWS. He's on Twitter at iReadPucknology and also the main Pucknology account. You can also engage us in the Google chat as well. So let's talk about the game, Ian. What did you think of that?
A bunch of mixed emotions. I mean, they got up by, they had the 3-1 lead there, and I thought, yeah, okay, this is going good. Ultimately, a meaningless game, and I think I can't stress that enough. Like, there really wasn't anything on the line here. Obviously, and I said this last night on TTG, but all you want, I don't really care about the win so much as I just care about a good effort. And unfortunately, we just didn't get that solid, complete game effort.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I'm not that upset about this, because there really wasn't that much in the line. They had an outside chance at getting second, very
Right.
slim outside chance. It would have been nice, but it's not that big of a deal. I thought Winnipeg played their butts off. Like, give
Yeah.
credit where it's due. They did not look like a bad team. They look like a pretty decent team. So I figure give them some credit. They played hard. They're playing loose too. Like, they didn't look like they were worried, because you could see a couple of the forwards were cheating up the ice a bit. So that's why they got so many great rushes, because they didn't have anything to lose.
And what you're seeing there is the future of that team, which is also, if you're a Jets fan, I mean, that's what you want to see. I mean, the guys that were on the scoring tonight, Scheifele, Petan, Ehlers, Ehlers was just all over us tonight. And I think if you're a Jets fan, I mean, that's what you want to see. That's what I think Sharks fans are hoping to see this year out of the Barracuda, and should see next year. Guys like that just kind of carry the play and really, push it after having a rough season. So.
Yeah, and we know one of the things the Sharks have always struggled with, decades or more now, are those really fast teams that attack really, like, not just fast like team speed, but have guys who are burners, who push play, who make it very difficult on the rush. So luckily they won't be seeing that in the playoffs, at least not in the early rounds. So I don't read too much into this. I think there were some defensive breakdowns that weren't good. There was that awful giveaway by Dylan that they got bailed out on. But I'm not that worried by it. I thought the effort was good. It was just sloppy at times. Like, I saw, those power plays looked awesome for the most part. So there were a lot of positives tonight. So I'm always irked by losses. I don't like losing.
No, for sure.
There's bad losses. It was nothing like when they lost to them back in January. That team looked hopeless. That team looked like just they were lucky to score any goals, because they just it was an exercise in futility. It looked like you've seen, like, when a little kid's trying to fight a big kid, and the big kid just got their hand on the kid's forehead, and they're like flailing. That's what that game looked like. This actually looked like a real fight. Like, both teams got their punches in. Both teams landed punches. Sloppy on the Sharks at sometimes, and they probably should have won. Burns with the game-winning tip. But, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Damn it, Ian, you're supposed to disagree with me. This is
okay. Yes,
this
that's
is
right.
radio.
Actually, you're wrong. I think that the Sharks should lose all the time. I like when they play like garbage, and I think that this game was far worse than the earlier Winnipeg game, because there was nothing on the line, so they should have just rolled over them. Are you happy?
Fire everyone, right?
Fire everyone, absolutely. I think everyone should be fired after this game. I think we should trade for Stalock back, and trade, and go back and trade Jones for Reimer. I mean, just burn this thing down.
Yeah, and if for those of you who don't know, Ian is being very sarcastic. This is the problem with me and him working together, is we often see a little too eye to eye. But
yeah,
I mean, I think though today, both you and I were a little on Twitter going about how we kind of called the Detroit game a turning point and the season and all that. I believe I looked up the number. They were something like, after the last Winnipeg game, they were 18-2. Since then, they were 27-12-4. So that game really seemed like that was the wake-up call in their season. That was what changed them from being a mediocre team that was barely in contention to an actual playoff team. And, the game right after Detroit, they lost, but they played hard. And, I mean, that's the main thing I want to see tonight. I was disappointed by the result, but I saw enough positives tonight that I'm not like going like, oh, shoot, this team's just toast in the playoffs. Do we have a final score yet on Kings Ducks?
2-1 LA.
And that was not an overtime, right?
No, that is in regular time goals.
Well, sweet. At least it wasn't was not a 3-point game. And tonight, though, the Sharks are officially no longer alive for the second spot.
Right. And
the Kings appear to be in control and have a pretty good chance. So
Ducks still do have a game in hand, though.
Yeah, they have a game in hand. It's looking like a good chance, though. It could be could be the Ducks in round one.
Mhm.
And while I want some payback for the Kings game or the Kings series years ago, we could use some payback for 7 years ago when the Ducks ended our President's Trophy season. That was so awesome to watch until that playoff series just was horrible. So that's good news. Scanning the Google chat here. So LA, according to Chris Edwards, LA owns the road tiebreaker. So
They do. Yeah, they've
probably
45 rows now. Do I think Anaheim has 41 last I checked.
Yep. And yeah, that Sharks fan in there commenting, yeah, the Detroit game was one of the better efforts seen play all year. You know, I believe you and I got a lot of flack for saying that at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
I
remember somebody, Landy, was saying there's no moral victories at this point, and something like that.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even call it a moral victory. I just say, like, when you play a good game and you lose, that's usually a sign of things to come. If you play well and you lose a couple games, it's not as upsetting if you play poorly and lose a couple games. If you lose poorly and you lose games, then you're going to probably keep losing games. You play well, eventually you're going to get the bounces, you're going to get the good results. So that's why I tend to, I'll rip the Sharks when they win a game and play poorly. I will praise the Sharks when they lose a game and they play well. This game, I'm not going to praise them for this game, but I don't think it was I think it was pretty
terrible.
much,
I think they had some issues. I think that our defense is starting to be exposed after DeMello Braun seemed like a decent combination, but now it looks like our defense is starting to be exposed a little bit. Teams are obviously watching tape on them. So obviously we can't get Vlasic back soon enough. And the penalty kill. I mean, the penalty kill was what really hurt us this game. Our power play was finally clicking and it was really going well, and the penalty kill has been atrocious. And that's not like this is new. That's been a theme all year. And as much as I would rather draw the Ducks in the first round as well. I think the Sharks match up a billion times better against the Ducks, especially considering their injury problems right now. But I mean, if you can't stop that Duck power play, then that's not going to be a very nice series for us either.
Yeah, no, I agree definitely. Looking something up right now. 1 second, sorry. Vamp.
Okay, yeah, going in the chat here, just Chester Chivo corrected me. The Kings have 46 rows, not 45. Slushy thinks that we should trade Martin Jones for John Scott and Mike Brown. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, Vlasic being the answer to Wheeler, man. Yeah, Wheeler and Ehlers were all over us tonight. And, it's amazing the difference that Vlasic makes to this lineup. You go back to that Edmonton game and, you ask what was the difference between that game and the game before. It was Vlasic being wallpapered to McDavid. So I think that's a big, that's a huge point. And once we get Vlasic back, this team is going to be better. And it's already good.
He would definitely make a big difference getting back. Because, I mean, our defense, even with Vlasic, is definitely vulnerable, but that's your best defenseman, right? That is the guy you expect to be able to hold his own night in, night out. So that is a big loss. Also, Zubris is out with an undisclosed right now. Right. He's been a big part of when the penalty kill's been good. He's usually been very heavily involved. When he's not been as involved, the penalty kill's been pretty poor. So that's a big loss right there. Nieto watch me call it like the national guys do. Nieto has been out as well. He gets a lot of flack for his lack of finishing touch, but he is very effective in his own zone. He's been
very good,
pretty responsible defensively. He helps stretch out the defense and makes those guys think twice about pinching. So he makes a difference defensively. Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys that will, when they get back, hopefully game one of the playoffs, will make a big difference in how well this defense plays. So
absolutely,
no, it's definitely no panic button right now. I'm still not sold on whether I think the Sharks can make it out of the first round, but I don't think it'll be because their defense will be atrocious, or at least I hope not. I think they'll give a good series to the Ducks or the Kings. If they have enough to get over the top, it's another question.
Yeah.
So, speaking of who's in for the playoffs, shall we stir up the little mini controversy of Jones and Reimer that's been bubbling up on social media here.
Just before we get into that, at Generation X Wing on Twitter, just waiting for AJ Strong to big time his way on after taking his photo with Bakes.
Just come on with all his swag and stuff. Like, hey, I just had like 4 IPAs. Yeah. Calling from the back of his Uber, but yes, is there a controversy, Ian? Is there a case to be made?
I think you could make the argument. I'm still firmly in camp Jones starts. I understand that Jones hasn't had the last couple of, his last couple of games haven't been spectacular, and Reimer's been really good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that you start Reimer yet. I feel like Jones, based on his body of work over the season, I mean, Jones is the reason that we're where we are for a lot of the season. And I think to just ignore that now would be kind of silly, and it could cause problems that in the future that would be, that the Sharks don't need either. I think they finally got all this drama around this locker room kind of quelled down, and I don't think you go, hey, Jones, I know you're here for the next 2 years, but we're going to let this Reimer guy go and then lose him as a free agent.
Yeah,
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I tend to agree with you. Like, I think there is a conversation there, and I think that I'm not going to say Jones should have a short leash, but it's more of a Reimer is not so far behind him that if he's stumbling early, that they shouldn't seriously think about putting Reimer in there. Because honestly, I think the only reason why I say it should be Jones at this point is because he's the one we have long term, and we don't, that's more. I think that is important as well.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of play, I think Reimer would actually be the better option by a small bit.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were saying it was, if they really want to go cup or bust, which I don't think they have the horses to do anyways.
No.
This year,
No, I don't think so.
If they really felt that way, then I would say start Reimer. But I don't, if this was the team from 2 years ago, the one that granted blew that big lead, but
mm-hmm.
was probably one of the best Sharks teams we've seen in the last 10 years. That team was really good. You
mm-hmm.
throw Reimer playing right now behind that team doesn't lose to the Kings. That team probably makes a deep run. So if they were a little better, maybe.
In that series, that was the problem, though. We just couldn't buy a save for Niemi in that series. That was the difference, in my opinion. The thing is, I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. I think that the leash on Reimer should be, or the leash on Jones should be short. I do think he should start game one, but if he gets blown out, they put up a 5 spot and we lose 5-2, I think you absolutely go with Reimer game 2.
If he has a game like tonight, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
It wasn't all his fault tonight.
No. And I'm not blaming him, but I just think if he looks like he did tonight, or just gets blown out, I think if he plays a solid game and you lose 4-3, I still think you go back to Jones game 2. But I don't think the leash should be super long for him. I think if you have Reimer, you take advantage of that. But you give Jones the opportunity to lose the net, because in my opinion, it should still be his net to lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when I say I don't think his leash should be short, I just mean as in it's not as much his fault as much, I think, because Reimer has played himself into a position to be in that conversation where it's 1A, 1B instead of guy that you just are itching to pull. Like, that's not how it is at all. Like, I think Jones, like you said, he's a big reason why we're here right now. Without him, there's no way the Sharks are in the playoffs. Well,
yeah,
I guess it depends on who you have instead. But if it was Stalock starting, which I believe AJ said he'd be willing to go into the season as Stalock the starter last year. But anyways, if he was not here, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. I think, it should be his to lose.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, Nick, what Nick Tippett says in the chat. If you play if you have to play Jones and DeBoer needs to say it, I think that he doesn't need to say it in the media. Just because DeBoer hasn't said in the media who his starter is doesn't mean that it hasn't been said in the room. So I think it's Jones's. I think it's Jones's net. I think the locker room knows it's Jones's net still. I really don't think that by DeBoer not coming out and tipping his hand, and he's posturing. Let's be honest. I don't think that that isn't in the room. I don't think that everything that's said in the room comes out, and I think that who the starting goalie is, the team probably already knows.
Yeah, and Chris Edwards saying in the chat that it is cup or bust, and I have no doubt. Like, these guys obviously are thinking cup or bust because that's how you have to think in their position. I'm saying more from a strategic standpoint. From if you're looking at it from maybe like Doug Wilson's perspective or someone higher up the chain, you're probably looking at like, I mean, they want to win the cup, but they probably know this team. They could go on an improbable run, but they don't look like they're finals and cup winning material. Like, they look like maybe with a good off season or two, they could be right there, but they're not. They don't have the horses yet, and it's more of a, if you're going to risk your starter for a guy who's probably not going to be here next year, it better be worth it. Like, it better be because you think you're just throwing all your, you're going all in.
Well, I think Doug Wilson did go all in
that
this year, because I mean, when you look at the signings that he made, you basically said, okay, we're gonna, we did the rebuild on the fly or whatever, and then you went out and you got veterans like Joel Ward and Paul Martin. I mean, you got next year is the last year on Thornton and Marleau, and then you have to make a decision there. You're gonna have to make a decision on how much money you want to dump on Brent Burns' lawn. I mean, there's big decisions that have to be made next year. I mean, so you kind of have to go all in, and I think that Doug Wilson had to go all in, and because the market, isn't obviously. I mean, they're not showing up now when the Sharks are clearly all in. But I think if they really tanked it on a rebuild, I don't know how full SAP Center would be at this point.
Yeah, I don't think they need to go full. They won't go full rebuild. But yeah, I mean, I don't think though they I get what you're saying, but I don't think they went it's all or nothing this season, because he signed veterans, but they were largely really good moves. He didn't really overpay for anyone. He made some very good decisions for the most part. And I mean, I've said it before. Give the man credit. He had a very good offseason, probably one of the better ones he's had in
his entire tenure.
I mean, I will always say, well, actually, it wasn't the offseason we got Thornton, but that particular year stretch when you got Thornton probably is his best ever. Although when he got Dan Boyle and Rob Blake, that one offseason was also really epic.
I just wonder, because I mean, he got TV. I feel like Doug Wilson got Joe Thornton really early into his tenure, and I wonder if he knows what to do with this team without Joe Thornton.
It's a good question, and speaking of which, we should mention this. So Joe Thornton moves into 28th all-time, or sole possession of 28th all-time, 81 points in 81 games this season, 9 points to the 27th spot, so it'll be next year, but he's had a hell of a season, and I did check. There are guys in front of him. There's 4 guys in front of him right now that do not have cups, and everyone in front of him is in the Hall of Fame. So I said this on Twitter. I'll say it here. He could use a cup to add to his resume, but he doesn't need a cup to validate his resume. Like, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a great player if he wins a cup or not. Like, that would be awesome if he added that to his roster or his resume. But
I think
he's been awesome.
For Marleau, I think you could make the argument that a cup might be the difference between the Hall of Fame or not, because of other guys that he kind of sits in the range with. But Thornton's first ballot. It's not even close.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I don't know how many go behind him now are in the Hall of Fame, but I think it stretches back 10 guys. So he's in the top 40 aside from him are pretty much all Hall of Famers. So he's gonna or are currently playing. So he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. Point per game pace this season, pretty good chance he gets a point next game and makes it 82 for 82. Friggin-tastic season he's had. And he was a big part of why they turned it around. Early in the season, he was struggling. We all theorized he probably was injured or something was wrong, because he was not himself for the first 20, 30 games. And then he's just been on a tear ever since. Yeah. He's now tied for 4th place in the league in points with Erik Karlsson. And also, the guys in front of him, Sidney Crosby, Jamie Benn, Patrick Kane, they're all somewhere between 8 and 10 years younger than him. So he's dominating the league. at age 36 right now. So that's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah, no,
So
it's true.
All the credit to him. He's probably it's between him and Burns for team MVP, and that's saying something when you have Jones, who has also been incredible for the Sharks this season.
No,
And it looks like we are rejoined by Puck Guy 14. Hopefully this time with less interpretive dancing. And I swear I will boot you if you do your Kermit the Frog.
No. It's not Kermit the Frog. It's Kirk John Shorthouse.
I have my finger on the eject button right now, so don't you dare.
No, I thought I'd join in, guys. I don't have to rush home from work, and I thought I'd help you guys out.
I can't believe you didn't get Bakes on the show.
Try to, but
I know.
I had like 6 people trying to jump in and take a picture, and I tried to
Dry
get
hump
one.
him. Got it.
It's like he's famous or something. Jeez.
I know.
Well, I tried to get one for Gentry, and Biggs was looking down at one time, and the other time he had to run off, and I'm like, uh-oh, Gentry's gonna kill me for these pictures. So, whoops.
It was still nice of him to come down, though.
Yeah, it was very, very cool to come down. He was a friend, or he followed my friend Amber. So he actually came up to me before the warm-ups and asked me what the hell happened, and I have like, I don't know. Anyways, back to Sharks hockey.
So me and you, I'm sure you didn't hear most of it. Me and Ian agreed that we thought this game was fan-friggin-tastic, absolutely great. No, kidding. So our general take between us, and we agree too much on these type of things, is that there was sloppy at times, but the Jets played hard. The Sharks, we thought, played pretty hard. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, not a huge loss. Like it would have been nice to win, but yeah, that was kind of our take. What do you think, Eric?
There was some sloppy play. To me, I thought there was some sloppy play in all 3 zones. Their passing wasn't crisp. They just did not seem in sync. They seemed out of position a little bit tonight. So where their passing was going, they were either already forward to it or they weren't expected to get to the pass, which I thought costed them. Pavelski had, I think it was in the 3rd period, had a golden chance to shoot it, and he was looking for a pass. And you can't have it be think pass first when you go into the playoffs. You have to have it when get your shots, and especially tonight. How many shots did the Sharks have tonight? What was it, 20-something?
I can get right here. I have it right in front of me. 1 second.
Guys.
It's 20, 25, 26 in favor of the Jets.
You were having 1 of 6 shots go in. I mean, put it on net. Pepper Pavlik. I mean, the more shots he's going to see, the more chances he's got to do something. I just thought there could have been a better effort, but oh well. And now that we're solidified as a number 3 spot, do we see a lot of guys rest on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, since it's fan appreciation night, I don't know. It'd be curious to see how they play, and it's good to have a tune-up game, play hard. The last game, I thought they were playing hard tonight. It's just like you said, the execution was a little off. It wasn't quite always there, and then there was just some of those sloppy plays on defense, which we think partially because the Jets they're showing off the stuff that gives the Sharks fits, right? That those speedy teams that come up on the rush and attack and come hard, those are usually the teams that give them the most trouble. Luckily, those are the ones you don't see a lot in the playoffs because they're also usually really young and make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would be curious to see what they do in the last game. I think they'll come out and play hard still because, I mean, I think game 2 after a road trip, I think they're almost undefeated or something like that. So, and yeah, that's the other thing tonight. It's like Groundhog Day. After they come back off the road, it's inevitable. No matter how good the road trip is, they will drop the first game at home almost every time. I think it's something like they're like 5-11-2 or something like that after coming off the road. It's uncanny, but
It's something else, you know. It's how do you put it in perspective? I mean, do we need these guys to not see their wives or kids on when they come home from a road trip? I mean, just have them have them play at, have them go straight to like the Hotel Valencia or the Fairmont and just have them play there
I've heard of that
or
with
sleep
with
there.
sports teams sometimes, like in the like even not in the playoffs, but especially in the playoffs. Like some teams will they will just stay in a hotel locally and just say no, you don't. You get to go home. You get and you get you're gonna behave like this is you're still on the road. It's a business trip, even if it's a business trip across town. Just that, and maybe that'd be a good idea. That'd help keep them focused. And I think maybe there is a little bit of coincidence about it, how it's kind of shaken out. Because I mean, tonight had some freaky goals, like that one off Pollock skate that only happens so often. The tip from Burns. So
Yeah,
there's some fluky, freaky occurrences, and all the Sharks' goals I thought they were pretty much all just really good execution by the Sharks, and the power play was looking good. So I think there were definitely positives to take away from tonight.
Yeah, there were. I think, I mean, one of the things I loved tonight was just right after we took a penalty, and I think it was Martin's penalty for kneeing. Tierney with a great rush up the ice for a shorthanded chance. He makes a great run for it, and, the guy has to take him down. I thought maybe it might have been a penalty shot, but you even it up 4-on-4, and that's what you need going into the playoffs. You need to have hustle, and you need to be hungry out there. Something that's going to take this team to the next level, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, also saw like Pavelski back checking hard. You saw Thornton back checking hard. So there was a lot of 3-on-2s going on. Like I said, like I think at least a couple times, like the Winnipeg, the Young Guns were cheating up the ice a little bit, but you saw the forwards back checking really hard, which it's good to see. That's why I say like I think the effort wasn't the problem tonight, and that's definitely what I want to see. I want to see a good effort. I want to see good execution, especially on the power play, because the first two power plays just looked. The first one looked lethal. Like the movement was brilliant, very quick, very precise, and then boom, just like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm just kind of skimming the chat, but it's mostly silliness.
Yeah, they're saying we agree a little too much, and also Gen X, being his grumpy old man, is talking about how much the Fairmont sucks.
Oh.
I mean, I tend to agree, but I mean, I mostly don't care. It's a hotel that's here, and I don't stay at hotels in San Jose.
Fair.
And apparently they're trying to find out how Slushy can make it to games in the playoffs when he's 13 years old. You dealing drugs or something, Slushy? Or
I said prostitution.
I was just gonna go with drug dealing, but dude, you went to a dark place there.
I do. You know what? That's what I bring to this show. I take us to dark places.
The Maple Masher, ladies and gentlemen. You'll take care of all you jabronis.
It's interesting though, just kind of going through my Twitter feed, not just stuff directed at us, but just like a lot of the sourness, because it was a pretty good sports day in the Bay Area, unless you went to the Sharks game instead, and just like a lot of the grumpiness about attending so many X number of games and X number of them being losses and not really being excited for the playoffs. And that's the scary thing when you have other teams that are doing so well. I think it showed tonight when you had, it showed just how bad other teams have really eaten into the Sharks sporting dollar in the area.
Big time.
I think to an extent, yes, but I mean, the other teams, their tickets also cost double or triple. Like Sharks tickets aren't cheap, but Giants opening day tickets, I looked at those. They're costing hundreds. Warriors games right now are crazy amounts. So,
but see, here's the thing: when typical prices, because we all know every team loves this dynamic thing. If can't sell out, how dynamic pricing works is that the price should go down because the demand is not there. Unfortunately, they have went against that, and rather than have people in people in the seats and sell the games cheaper, they rather just be like, we'll sell that seat at $65 if you want to sit in section 222, row 17.
Well, I mean, elastic price is not necessarily that tickets will go down in price that often. It's more that they'll go up when they know, hey,
But
the Dodgers are in town. It's more of a money grab, is what it is. They try to pitch it as, oh, you can save money on these less desirable games. No, you don't. They charge me a little bit less, and then they jack up the price when it's a really desirable game. It's just another way for them to make even more money, and sell it to you as, oh, it's good for you.
But how much money are you making when you have supposedly 1,862 less fans in the building than you would if you had put a special out tonight? $25 tickets in the upper bowl, $50 tickets in the lower bowl.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't
and
know how much you want to do it.
you have to be careful there too, though, because if you start overly discounting your tickets, then you ruin their value, and people just get used to buying them at the discounted prices, and then you can't, and then when you actually put them, if the team starts doing well and starts drawing well again, you put them up to compensate for that, and then backlash like crazy.
Yeah,
Ask Florida.
there's a whole economic model behind it. Like as Ian was saying, you don't want to have your prices set so low, say expectations also devalue. But I don't think the issue is not with the Sharks ticket pricing, other than just them continually raising their tickets year over year. But it's because they can, and they're still making about the same money or more, because if you sell less tickets but you charge, if you sell 10% less tickets but charge 20% more for them, you're going to make more money in the end, which is kind of shitty for the fans, but
Right.
it is a business, and I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say what the building's going to look like come playoff time. I hope it's electric. I think it's going to get sold out. Like, I have a hard time believing it won't get sold out, but definitely the excitement won't be there unless they start winning games. I think if they win games 1 and 2 on the road, I think the excitement will be there.
But the scary part too is that now that you know that you're the number 3 seed, and things get solidified pretty quickly by Saturday night, I mean, there'll be people from Anaheim and Los Angeles being like, oh, I can get tickets for the playoff games in San Jose? We're making a road trip. We're going to invade the place. That's never happened in San Jose, I think, except for like one game against Vancouver in the conference final, and that was pretty horrendous. And I can only imagine if there are a bunch of LA or Anaheim fans in the building, that's going to kill any home ice advantage you have, even though you don't have much this year, going in.
I don't. It would take a lot of fans from the other teams, and I don't know. I think the Sharks fans will show up. Even if there's a strong contingent from the other team, it'll be in the form of, you'll hear more yelling when they score a goal. But 2,000 fans from the other team is not going to overpower the other 1,400 Sharks fans.
Sure, but my point is that I've never seen them promote playoff tickets like they've been lately. I mean, they've had like 2-3 ads in the building tonight for playoff tickets.
They always promote playoff tickets, trust me.
No, but I mean, there were times in their heyday that these games would be sold out within 20 minutes. You go to like the good old Rite Aid or record store, and they'd be gone. And now you're looking at, go on the Ticketmaster right now and take a look at it. I mean, there's plenty of seats available, starting at the low price of only $91.
Well,
those tickets aren't available. Those are sold tickets. They're just trying to resell them for more money.
Oh, they're on Ticketmaster. I mean, they're not the resale ones. They're the ones on sale.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing too, though. I mean, like, it's not like Anaheim can even fill their own barn. So what are you worried about them filling ours?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, actually. The Kings do, but Ducks fans are not that great at filling their own barn. There's a reason why we're able to go down there and invade the pond now and again, because they don't fill up their barn well. Kings fans, they do show up. There's usually every Kings game I've been to here has always had pretty good contingent of black jerseys, and they're gonna try to show up. Other teams always try to show up, But I mean, really, right now, it's looking like probably going to be the Ducks. So I don't think we have to worry too much about that in round one because, well, yeah.
Well, did Anaheim or
it's the
LA win?
Ducks.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the score.
LA won.
LA won.
So
Right.
they're up 2 points. They have the road tiebreaker. Anaheim does have a game in hand, though.
Right.
Yeah, at this point, the LA will have the tiebreaker no matter what. So the Ducks have to
Beat
basically, if LA gets, I think if LA wins their last game, they lock it up. If the Ducks lose so much as 1 point, I think. No, actually, no, yeah, they lose 2 points. So the magic number for LA is 2. If they tie, they're fine. But I'm not too worried about opposing fans right now. I'm mostly worried about the team because that's what's going to make it happen or not happen. If they win or lose, it won't be because of the fans.
Slushy, the Sharks are wearing teal this year in the playoffs.
Yep.
You can only wear one jersey. You can't just alternate up. So on Thursday they won't wear black armor if they're playing.
Right. Yeah, that's an NHL rule. They can't go with any alternate jerseys. They have to declare which one they want to wear, and the team has said that they will wear teal. They would have worn teal last year if they did, but of course they didn't make it. So they are going with teal as a huge suggestion, and I highly encourage it. This is Teal Town. We are encouraging every fan, whether you're in the building or not, to wear teal, and as much as possible throughout the playoffs. The Kings will be wearing their black jerseys. The Ducks will be in orange at home for the playoffs.
Ooh.
So by all means, let's not get mixed up with any of those fans. I know, Gentry, sorry, you want to wear your orange Barracuda jersey. It ain't happening. Please rock your teal. Any intimidating home ice factor we can use will be great. And I'm at 1%, so I'm going to have to go, guys. Thanks. I'll talk to you Saturday.
Sounds good.
Eric?
Thanks.
So, we're probably about to wrap up here, but mentioning the standings one more time. So, with that loss, the Sharks officially are locked into third. They can't catch Anaheim. They have one game left. Their best case is 98, and Anaheim has 99. I assume last show was touched on, but the Sharks have the record now for best away games in team history with 28 wins, which is that is pretty impressive. And I guess it's also, I credit to Chester Chivo. He found this stat. They are tied for second for the NHL all-time mark. Number one is the Detroit Red Wings, who had 31, which is just crazy.
Insane. I think they lost like 6 games that season or something.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So that is pretty darn impressive. That's a really nice run on the road. And yeah, like the home losses have been frustrating, but this team has been road warriors. That's the one thing they have been consistently all season. They've been very good on the road. So that's why I'm not that worried about being in third. They have to go the Kings or the Duck Pond to start the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they can at least get a split to come back home. So that's definitely a good sign. If they don't get a split, then I'm going to start worrying.
Yeah. Do you want to go through the playoff brackets here quick? Just basically see what has to happen over the next game. So if you're looking in the Central, you have Dallas and St. Louis both tied with 107 points. Dallas does have the row advantage, though, with 47. So the only way that St. Louis can move into first is if Dallas loses their last game and St. Louis wins. That is the only way that St. Louis can jump the Dallas Stars. And it has to be a Dallas loss in regulation. Their next game is against Nashville, so who knows? The St. Louis Blues, they'll have to play the Capitals, which Capitals good team, but a little bit slippy-slidey lately. So that would leave. So it looks likely like you're going to see Dallas, Minnesota, and then St. Louis play Chicago. In the Pacific, you have the Kings currently with 101 points. The Anaheim Ducks do have a game in hand, but the Kings do have the 46 rows. So basically, you have 2 games left. If the Kings win their next game, that's it. It's over. It's done. If the Kings lose and the Ducks win out, then they would take over the top seed. But it's looking very, very likely that we will be facing Anaheim in the playoffs to start, and then the Kings will play Nashville.
So we might get a Stars v North Stars matchup.
We might. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah. And from everything I've seen, sounds like Chicago wants to avoid Dallas because I guess they've had their number this season.
Yes, yes, they have. Dallas has owned them, and I think for the Chicago Blackhawks, I think St. Louis is like the perfect team for them to pull in the first round because there's a lot of questions about, is St. Louis going to have an NHL goalie healthy enough to play in the playoffs? And I think that if they can drag out a series with St. Louis, they can probably get out of it and possibly, and get to the next round and then be healthier for it. Like if they start getting guys back, then they can start looking like that team that won the cup last year. But right now, I mean, I think they just need a little more time, and St. Louis might be the perfect remedy for that.
Yeah, definitely. So are you looking forward to seeing the Ducks? I know I am.
I would prefer, I would actually rather play the Ducks, I think. I think I'm just emotionally scarred from the Kings series a few years ago, so that always just gives me like an upset feeling in my tummy. But I think if you look at the Ducks and you look at the injuries the Ducks have, as long as we can stay out of the box, which is a big if, the Sharks should be able to upset the Ducks. The Ducks are not as good as they were 3 weeks ago. Missing Perron, they have, it's Gibson or bust basically. I like the odds.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen real quick here. Here's why I'm glad we'll probably more likely see the Ducks. 1 second here. There it is. So, yeah, this is the chart of shot attempts tonight. The black line is the Kings. Yeah. That's why I'm glad. That's why I'd much rather see the Ducks. The Ducks, while they can definitely win games, they're not a strong possession team. They never have been over the last decade. Mm-hmm. The Kings possess the puck, and they are physical. They will wear you out. Yep. So if the Sharks have aspirations to go anywhere in the playoffs, the Kings are not the team you're going to want to see early, because even if you beat them, they are going to take a severe toll on you, because they're one of those rare teams that can both outpossess you and out hit you, because usually the two run in opposite directions, right? If you're hitting the other team a lot, it's because they have the puck. But if you're out hitting the other team and you're holding onto the puck a lot, that is extremely grueling for the team that's on the other end.
From the chat, if we get the Ducks in the first round, do I want the Kings in the second round? Honestly, I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you got to beat the best teams to make it through. Honestly, I'd like to avoid the Kings altogether if possible. I would rather play Nashville, even though Pecorine destroys us. It's just like Chris just said, though. The Kings are such a heavy team. They're such a grinding team. And another worry I have with beating the Kings is kind of like the Sharks a little while back had 2 second-round series against the Red Wings, which they won after being basically owned by the Red Wings forever before that. And the Sharks had nothing emotionally left in the tank after that. And I feel like if we get the Kings too early, I worry about that happening to the Sharks, where they just empty the emotional tank in that series. They make it through, but then they don't have enough to get through to the final round. So I think that I'd rather avoid the Kings if at all possible, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Said possession monster, very physical. That's a team that it doesn't matter who they play. They will tax the other team. And that's why they've won in the playoffs. Yeah. They've won 2 cups in the last 5 years, because they can, when they get rolling, they can mow other teams over. I'd rather not have to see them at all. As much as I'd love to slay the beast, it'd feel great. It'd take a lot out of them. Like if the Sharks drew them in the first round and 1-7, they'd probably have a very tough time going up against Anaheim in the second round, because they would have had to spend so much time and energy just getting out of the first round, because the Kings are a tough out. So probably about time to wrap up here. So a couple things. Plan right now, tentatively, is we will be having, obviously we'll have a show on Saturday after the game against the Coyotes. We're probably going to have a all playoff preview game either Sunday or Monday, and then the night before the Sharks' first game, we will have our Sharks preview, where we'll probably be discussing the end of season stuff as well. Who's who's our MVP, even though we've had that discussion a few times on here, but officially have that round table, and we'll probably have more people on here for that than normal. And then obviously we will be here every single game during the playoffs, hopefully more than 4. I really hope.
I hope.
But yeah, this makes game number 81 for us. We have covered 81 out of 81 so far. So one more, and we will have 82 broadcasts, post-game broadcasts this season. So
Huge.
yeah, I know I'm tired. Are you tired, Ian?
I am tired, but you know what? At the same time, like I'm tired, and I know that the playoffs are going to be like a super grind for us, because especially like for those of like for me, because I got to do my other podcast plus the game day stuff and articles on Pucknology. But at the same time, I don't know, like, if this is all gone suddenly, I don't know how the hell I'm going to react to it.
Yeah, I know it's been a grind, but it's been a lot of fun, because I mean, most of us would be talking to someone and ranting about the Sharks if we didn't have this outlet, but it's really fun to be able to sit here, talk to people, interact with everyone out there in Twitter land and YouTube land and all that. So
yeah, it's such a huge, like, takes up such a huge chunk of my life right now. I have no idea what I'm going to do with my free time. I guess sleep, but who wants to do that?
You'll be getting on Hangouts with us, just shooting the shit.
Absolutely.
Anyways, so the point of that is keep an eye out for all that stuff. And thank all of you for watching, because, well, you're a big reason why we do this, but we also do this because we just want to talk Sharks. Like, if nobody watched, we'd probably still do this because we love talking Sharks. It's what we do. We're fans. So with that, Sharks lose, a disappointing ending to the Jets, 5-4 with 9 seconds left. Burns tipping it in. Just get all the bad stuff out before the playoffs. Get it all out now. Everyone have a good night.